Yes, let's get free. And shout out to Gabrielle, who was on a previous episode. Matt, shout out to Matt. We need an updated commercial,
I was like,
fam.
is
Updated
she gonna
commercial.
be there too?
Pardon us on that, Micah. But thank you for your patience. And again, welcome to the Crypto Harlem live stream. It is an honor to have you here in conversation with myself, the new project director of Crypto Harlem. And our goal is always the same. How do we open up resources, education, and access for marginalized communities? What does it look like to practice digital privacy? What does it look like to, in the age of AI, to keep people safe, especially those on the front line doing the work, the hacktivists, the activists, the organizers, the researchers. And today we have Micah Lee, and Micah Lee is a coder, a security engineer, and a journalist. He develops open source privacy and security tools and has done a ton of work related to journalism and whistleblowing. He's the author of Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations, The Art of Analyzing Hacked and Leaked Data. Can we make some noise for Micah Lee, everyone? Awesome. Awesome. So Micah, I would love to just start about learning more about your journey. So you wear a lot of hats: coder, security manager, author. Which identity feels most natural to you?
It's really hard, like, for me to describe what my job is, like what I do, because I do a lot of different things. And I also just recently, started doing like some creative writing. Like I'm trying to write a novel.
Mm,
It's an entirely different thing. I do a lot of programming, a lot of security
awesome.
engineering, some like reverse engineering. I don't know, DevOps. I do a lot of computer nerd stuff, but I mean, if I had to describe it just in a word, hacker, because that's just it's just all about being curious and just jumping in with technology and doing stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And what brought you to this field? What brought you to this skill set?
Um, I guess okay, so I guess when I was a kid, I was like many kids, I was very into video games. I played games all the time. I was a PC gamer. I played a lot of like StarCraft and Counter Strike and stuff. But then I started like really wanting to program video games and started to teach myself to code, and I started making video games. And I quickly, like, I remember in high school I was like having a lot more fun just like staying up all night like programming my own version of Tetris than I was actually playing video games. So I got super deep into code. And then, hacking is cool. I was always like, interested in hacking. I liked it in the media. I thought it was like, fun and interesting. But then I started going to hacker conferences.
Mm,
I went to some like regional ones in the South. I used to live in North Carolina. I remember going to ShmooCon in DC. I went to like DEF CON for the first time.
mm.
And yeah, I just got like super into it. And then yeah, I was lucky enough to get a job working at EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which was cool. Yeah, I could go into it more, but yeah, that I mean, I guess that's kind of how I got started.
I love that. And I love, like, shout out to all the software engineers across the planet. During COVID, so many jobs opened up for coders, right? And like my background is helping marginalized communities gain access to those skills and those jobs. Can you talk to me a little bit more about the when it became less of a career and a more of a mission for you? Once you got these skills, once you went to the conferences, like, was it more so, hey, I can make a lot of money getting the golden handcuffs, or I could do some good here?
I mean, okay, so in addition to being into playing video games and programming and stuff, I was also really into activism, like from back in the day. Like I grew up like in anarchist communities. I would like, I did direct action for environmental stuff, like, and so I always really just wanted to figure out how to, you know, do good in the world for all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why, like, when I got to when I got hired at EFF, it was so exciting because I was like, whoa, I actually get to, like before that I was doing, I mean, I guess I was still kind of like, I was working for this nonprofit that made websites for like social movements. So it was still activism,
Mhm.
but it was like a lot, it was uh I feel like it wasn't quite as impactful. I was like doing a lot of like spinning up WordPress sites, but then I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm actually starting to like do like campaigns to defend encryption, right? Like I remember like back when I was there, they were just starting to like work on launching Let's Encrypt, like encrypting the web, and all that stuff. And so I think that like I never really was doing it for the money, and I was sort of just like scraping by for a while until I was like lucky enough to get a job where I could like do what I really wanted to do and also get paid like pretty well for it. And then yeah, and then I don't know, like like a lot of stuff like the Snowden leaks happened. I accidentally fell into journalism. Yeah, so like one story is I was working at EFF. Also at the time, like late 2012, there's this other group, Freedom of the Press Foundation. And I helped start it. I was like the first employee, sort of. I built the whole website and the donation system, and I was the first CTO. And like part-time CTO in my spare time while I was full-time EFF. And while like shortly after that, I got an email that was encrypted and with PGP. It was anonymous, had no idea who it was, and he was like, "Hey, it would really help me. Can you reach out to Glenn Greenwald and teach him how to use PGP?" And turns out this was Edward Snowden. I ended up like before the leak happened, I ended up basically became the like OPSEC person who was helping Laura Poitras and Glenn Greenwald like do stuff securely, communicate securely, use PGP to make that all work. And then I learned who he was and what he was leaking, and I was like, holy shit. And then and then I left EFF, joined the Intercept, and was doing a lot. And I just like, that's how I fell into journalism. Like I wasn't even really planning on doing journalism, but once I was working there, like doing security work, I really wanted to look at the Snowden documents, and I got a chance to, and then I started writing articles about them. And and it turns out I like writing, so.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful. And for our listeners that may not be familiar with the Snowden project and the NSA leak, can you break that down for us a little more and why that was such a monumental time in digital privacy and how you contributed to that? Like, if it wasn't for you, there might have been a world where some of this information wouldn't have got out, right? So I want to give you your flowers and your kudos, because I think Matt knew that you would like be humble about that, but that's huge. And then I want to talk more about the transition to journalism, because it also speaks to, just as human beings, us being able to find other pathways that feed our soul. Like, we're just because you have coding skills and you're a technologist and you're data privacy expert doesn't mean that you can't still fall in love with something else like journalism. So yeah, would love to hear more about what was leaked in the most secure way, and then more about the roadway into journalism as well.
Yeah, so Edward Snowden was an NSA contractor, and he also worked for the CIA, and so he had access to all sorts of data. And so in 2013, he basically like okay. So I guess let's back up to 9/11. 9/11 happened. Then there was like the Patriot Act was passed. You know, like the U.S. government started torturing people in Abu Ghraib. They opened Guantanamo Bay. Like it was a dark time. Like Muslim communities were just like immediately under surveillance. This is when they started fusion centers, which are like these police organizations that facilitate communications between the feds and the local cops. So 9/11 like brought in this whole new era of like massive amounts of like surveillance, militarization, the war on terror, all that stuff. And the two Bush administrations, it just kept going higher, higher, higher. And then Obama got elected, and the drone warfare, like it was all really bad. Obama got elected. So Edward Snowden, meanwhile, is working at the NSA. And he's getting increasingly concerned about this stuff because he's seeing the top secret stuff that the U.S. government's doing, including the fact that like every single American is being spied on. I mean, everyone's being spied on all over the world, but like he's really into like, you know, he's like a constitutional guy. He's like, this is completely illegal. Like, we're supposed to have, you know, the Fourth Amendment for a reason. Yet he like knew that everything that goes over the internet, it's just like going through these big internet backbones. The NSA is sitting there making a copy of everything, searching it all. And this was also back in the day before everything was encrypted. So it was like they actually could just read all the emails. They could just read, you know, like all of the text messages that like basically everything, like all, they could spy on all the web traffic, because like Google at the time didn't use HTTPS. It used it when you like logged into your Gmail account, but everything else was plain text. So they could just actually just read everything in your inbox as you were reading it. They could see everything you're searching and stuff. And they did this. And this was for everyone in the United States, everyone in large chunks of the world. So, and I don't know, there was like lots of different NSA programs, but this was a big one. Obama was kind of campaigning on ending this stuff because it was getting more and more unpopular. Like, there were some leaks, and the New York Times wrote some stuff about NSA spying. Like, there was an earlier whistleblower in 2005, worked for AT&T in San Francisco, and he actually like blew the whistle directly to EFF, Mark Klein. Wow. And he's like, hey, there's this building in the like AT&T, in the AT&T building, there's this room. It's a special room controlled by the NSA. And they're making a copy of all of the data that's going through the San Francisco AT&T building. And that was like the internet backbone for the West Coast. And he like knew this. So then that like, they used this to like launch the first like big NSA spying lawsuit against the NSA that lasted all the way until like 2022 or something. Anyway, all this was going on. Obama was like, this sucks. We're going to stop it. Obama got elected. He did the opposite. He just made it worse. He just kept on. Then the like James Clapper, the DNI, the guy in charge of all of the intelligence community, testified before Congress and completely lied. He was asked like, are there any programs where we're spying on like millions of Americans? And he was like, no, we're not doing that. And the senator that asked him that, Ron Wyden, like knew for a fact that they were. So he like set up this question to make him lie. And Snowden saw this, and he just saw that it was getting worse. Obama was like lying. He wasn't doing anything about this. And that's when he was like, okay, I'm going to take matters into my own hand. He just gathered a ton of internal secret, like top secret documents. And then he leaked them to journalists. And I don't know, there's like a lot more that I can talk about how it all happened. It was definitely very interesting, but he I think one of the important things is that he was basically like, he knew that this giant set of documents that he had could be extremely dangerous. Like, this was like super valuable for, you know, lots of people that really don't like the United States. It could get a lot of like military people killed, things like that. There were probably some legitimate secrets mixed in with the like terrible abuses of power. And so he didn't want to, he just dump it all on the internet. He was like, you know what? I'm not qualified to make these decisions. I'm going to give them to journalists. I'm going to have journalists have like these strict rules of like, you could only like, basically like you have to keep them air gapped. You have to do all this stuff. You have to always keep them encrypted in these ways. And I'll let the journalists dig through it and like responsibly report on what's in the public interest, but not report on the other stuff. And so then after that, it was like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years of reporting on Snowden and stuff, like all around the world. So I did a lot of that. But also, you know, like Der Spiegel and The Guardian and LPS. And like, we would start like partnering with newsrooms around the world. Like there were newsrooms in Brazil that like specifically were like looking through all of the Brazil related stuff to write articles and all that. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, a summary of the Snowden story.
You know, Micah, thank you for breaking down. Like I have so many questions about that, but one thing that stands out to me around surveillance, right? You just mentioned 2005, 2013, you know, 9/11, but technology has only gotten better. Are we still experiencing with encryption, with all all of these different things going on now, are we still in that space of where we should be mindful that the government is spying on us?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's different now. I think a lot of it's
Hmm.
because of, Snowden and other whistleblowers. Like, now that we know that the government's spying on us. Okay, so as a result of all this, they didn't change anything.
Yep.
NSA, they never got in trouble for violating the Constitution. They're still doing the
Wow.
exact same thing. They're still like in that same building in AT&T in San Francisco, monitoring everything. Nothing stopped.
Wow.
Um, but like the difference is now when they're collecting all that data, most of it's encrypted. It's a lot harder for them to get to it. And so just the tactics have changed. It's
Hmm.
like the tech for them have gotten a lot better, but the tech for us has gotten a lot better too.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just like a different game. It's no longer just like, oh, all you need to do is use HTTPS and then no one can see when people log into your website. Now it's like, oh, all you need to do is like not load your website with a bunch of third-party trackers that like, collect analytics, and then,
Yeah.
government agencies just buy this from them. So there's like a lot of different ways that this happens. But yeah, no, privacy is like, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's worse than it has ever been in human history, but
Yeah.
also at the same time, like it can be pretty good if you what's possible is like amazing. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I appreciate this because like so many of Americans or human beings are like walking around and not understanding, how to keep themselves safe, or what are the simple things that can allow you to be protected. And especially for the researchers, right? The journalists and the activists. Like, I love that your work also focuses on, giving them the tools and the resources to keep them safe as they continue to tell the truth and share the knowledge. Whistleblowers, right? Like, that is a spooky name for some people, but for the others, it is not. Why are whistleblowers so important in our world today?
Um. So whistleblowers are so important because like so much of what happens is in secret. So much of the corruption that's going on is like happening behind our backs, and it's really hard to get information about any of this stuff. And whistleblowers, when they just see stuff that it's like so um like that they just can't ignore, like help bring this information out. And so like, I mean, I think the biggest example in US history, probably whistleblowing, is Daniel Ellsberg during the Vietnam War. um uh he leaked a set of documents called the Pentagon Papers. They were like top secret documents about the war in Vietnam. They like proved, among other things, that like the military had been lying to the public for like years and years, saying like we're doing great in the war, we're about to win any minute now. And it turned out that like they knew for a fact that they were like badly losing, everything was terrible. Um, and like I think that actually went really far in stopping the Vietnam War.
Mhm.
Um, and also, and more than that, like the Pentagon Papers, they were mentioning like there was an acronym in there called COINTELPRO, and then some journalists did some freedom of the press, Freedom of Information Act requests, and learned that COINTELPRO was like this whole FBI program where they were, like trying to get Black Panthers to commit suicide and trying to like snitch jacketing
Wow.
people, and like doing all this harassment. And there was like this huge thing, and all this like basically was sparked. Like we wouldn't have known about this stuff
Yeah.
like without Daniel Ellsberg deciding to do this. But I mean that was a long time ago. Like more recently, I think, I don't know, like there's whistleblowers all over the place.
Yeah.
There's the government, definitely, but like there's whistleblowers in companies. Like what's going to happen the first time like a big like OpenAI whistleblower comes out? Like I'm
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah, that's gonna be wild. And hopefully, like, and with that, right, because of AI and surveillance and data collection, it grows quickly, right? And like, to piggyback off your last comment, like, what alarms you the most because of that, right? Because of the exasperated surveillance data collection, like, what are some concerns that you have as a expert in the field?
I mean, like, I think that what's going on right now with companies like Palantir, it's just terrifying. Like, and I mean, I think combining all of the surveillance that has been going around that like has been basically like increasing since 9/11, like super technical surveillance. It's just like been skyrocketing at the same time that we have the Trump administration, where there's just like fascists in power, where they're like, you know what, we are going to like not let you get a visa to enter the United States unless you tell us all of your social media handles, and then we're going to search them for everything that you might have mentioned about Trump or whatever, right? And so that like that sort of stuff is, and I think that, you know, with the massive data collection that's happening everywhere, and with, you know, like these pretty powerful LLMs that are able to do stuff that were just not possible before, because like now you could automate so much of it. Like before it was like okay, so NSA program called X-Keyscore was a program where NSA would spy on the internet, collect everything that they possibly could, put it in this giant database, and then you can go and do like keyword searches for it. And a lot of times, what you know the analysts would do is they try to get a selector, is what they called. So it's basically like some unique string that represents a person they're targeting. So, for example, an email address. Like they can put in your email address. They can find all the times your email address appears throughout internet traffic. So like they can see you logging into your email. They can see you logging into your Facebook. They can see you doing whatever, and then they can go from there. Or even your password, actually, because like your password goes over the network, and a lot of passwords weren't encrypted back then. Now, but like, you know, that was kind of easy to get around if you knew that it existed. You could just, you know, like have an encrypted conversation. Like there's lots of ways of doing it. But now I think that like it's so much more powerful than just a keyword search. They can just spin up some agents, give them some instructions, and just be like maybe you don't actually mention a word when you're talking to people. They could just be like, read this block of text and tell me if it looks suspicious, right? Like things like that. And they could do that at scale. They could do that 5 billion times, right? And so I think that that's where it's scary. It's just like the mixing the like AI model, the LLMs, with all of these surveillance data sets, I think just gives them the ability to just go through them all. Like, and you know, it might hallucinate. They don't care. Like it might get stuff wrong. It always gets stuff wrong, right? Like facial recognition is like notoriously racist, right? Like because of how the models are trained. And so you know, the LLMs are gonna get stuff wrong too, but like it doesn't matter. Like it probably will find a lot of stuff that they're looking for. There might be some false positives, but like before, it would not be possible for them to like manually look through millions of records, right?
And yeah, thank you for pointing out the hallucinations. I always try to tell people you got to still double check the work, because AI be tripping. And like shout out to Donna, right? Like from Cyber Elixir, she shared with us they see your photos, and it's a platform where if you drop a photo in it, it'll come up with these what do they call it? It'll come up with these assumptions about you. And literally, I tried different photos. If I dressed a certain way, like my income was lower than if I came in the picture formal. And it's just like, wow, it's wild how these assumptions are already built into society and built into the everyday systems and products that we use. So, Micah, do you think? No, sorry, please share.
So I just learned this from like a podcast, I think, but it was specifically about like AI in hospitals and medicine. And you know, when you go to the doctor now, they're always like, we have like an AI scribe or whatever that's taking notes for your doctor appointment, right? So this guy went to the doctor and he was like, sure, the AI scribe could take notes. He was a gay man, and he had a rash on his arm because he's a gardener, and he got a bunch of pine needles on his arm or something. The notes for it said that because he was a gay man, he was a drug addict, and the rash was due to like injection, like needles. It just completely hallucinated this using, I know, right?
And we all already have our own things with healthcare. So
Uh-huh.
to know that even the medical field is adapting these practices, and I think, Mike, I feel like people are just trying to control the narrative, right? I don't like a lot of people understand because they're interacting, they're building, they get to use, but I don't think a lot of humans are understanding on the level in which it's being marketed to us. Like people still don't know. They're adapting quickly. They're throwing money into the space so that they can get a better understanding. Like I know nonprofits now, Anthropic is like funding a staff member to work on your team for like a year using these products, right? Like it's just like yes, but wait, we have to
Yeah.
slow down because
Also,
we're just
whenever you're using Claude or whenever you're using ChatGPT or any of the frontier models, like from OpenAI or from Anthropic,
Mhm.
you are sending your chat logs to them. Then they're using those to like retrain their models. Like you're basic. So I mean, I've actually thought of this in terms of like analyzing data for reporting, where I'm like,
Mhm.
I wonder. I have a MySQL database. I wonder if I can make an LLM basically just like look at every single row and tell me stuff where this would take me 500 hours to do it manually. Maybe I could speed
Yeah.
this up with an LLM. But like, and actually, you can do there's open weights models. I don't know how nerdy you want to get, but there's ways of running LLMs locally on your computer without sharing data. They still hallucinate. They still are built on stolen data. They're problematic in various ways, but
Yeah.
you're not sharing the data with like Anthropic. But like, if I were doing this and this was a data set that like, was secret, like a whistleblower sent me a database or something, and I'm trying to write
Yeah.
some code to like have an LLM dig through it, I'm sharing my entire database with Anthropic. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do that, right? And I think that's the same thing, like a nonprofit that's like trying to like build AI into the workflow and whatever. You're just
Yeah.
sharing, you're giving your data to these other companies who are then going to start using it to like, basically to make money. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because they're losing so much money. The AI industry is not
Yeah.
profitable. It's a bubble. I wonder what's going to happen soon when it crashes.
Yeah, and it's moving rapidly. And like two questions, Micah. Like, how do you feel about coders ultimately losing some of their roles in their jobs due to AI, right? And like that transition, how's that been? How do you see that? And also, do you think we're moving toward a future with more privacy or less?
um. So yeah. So okay. So I think coders losing their jobs to AI is very short-sighted because AI can't replace people. Like it won't be able to when it comes to programming. Like I mean, it won't be able to really when it comes to anything. But when it comes to programming, like I do think that that it can make individual like developers a lot more efficient in certain ways. But
Yeah.
really, if they're already developers, they already like if you have to know what you want to do. Like so, I use code generation kind of frequently when I'm programming, but I'm not just like make me an app that does this. Okay, now add
Yeah.
this. I'm more like okay, here's what I want to do. Help me make a detailed plan for it, and then I go and edit the plan, and then I'm like, okay, this looks great. Start implement like make this class, and then I look at it, and then I'm like, oh, change how it works or whatever, and it's just
Yeah.
faster that way. But it's not like just like I still have to know what I'm doing, right? I still have to like,
Yeah.
and especially for like security for privacy, like the LLMs are going to just like not care about any of that unless you specifically are like trying to engineer around it, right? And
Yeah.
you give them specific instructions. And so it's incredibly short-sighted that all these people are losing their jobs because like especially like entry level
Hmm.
people or they're not hiring for them because like instead what you're getting is just like one person who's in charge of like everything and maybe doesn't even know very much programming, and then you end up with these code bases full of slop that are full of bugs impossible to maintain. And it's just gonna like I think it actually just makes things way more expensive in the end, right? like like I think that there could be I mean, I don't know. I think it's hard to argue that software development is not changing a whole lot because of LLMs. I think it is changing a whole lot,
Yeah.
but like you need like it's still just a tool. It's not it's not going to be able to replace people no matter how much they like sell it to you like this. And like this is really what the marketing is for. The marketing is trying to like sell it, like sell managers and bosses and executives being like, hey, you don't need to pay people anymore.
Yeah.
I
That
saw
is the wrong thing.
a meme of a bus in San Francisco with a giant ad on it that says "Stop hiring humans."
And that would be the place, right? Where are you based out of, Micah?
I'm not in. I'm in Northern California. I'm north of San Francisco.
Okay, yeah, that would be the place, like for sure. And it's funny, Micah. Like I literally was on the call earlier, and I was telling them, I said like AI LLMs are tools, right? They're hammers and wrenches and screwdrivers, and you don't use the hammer when you need to use the screwdriver. Like, and if I'm not building, I do not need the hammer. And again, it's like these are opportunities for us to become more efficient, to strengthen and add on to the skill set that we have. But like as a person that loves and values people, I don't want to see, and I do not foresee a world where we can lose the lived experience of humans. Like what people, I was just telling, like I don't want to use more AI tools. I need money to hire a team, right? And we should all be proficient in these tools. But like I don't want my ops manager to be a chatbot that or agent that we created that we're just siphoning data through every
Imagine how
day.
terrible that would be if like your colleagues were like AI agents. Like I don't
Oh
know. That's just
man.
as like that's like a nightmare. It's like a dystopian nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I feel like coding is actually one of the few things where AI is actually like useful in a lot of ways. There's other
Mhm.
industries like where it's just so like I don't know, divorced from humanity. Like I
Yeah.
don't think that anyone should be using AI to generate art, right? Hire a fucking
Mm.
artist, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like even if the art, even if the like image generations can like look really nice and whatever, you could do it yourself, it's like it's not as meaningful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and like what's the point of reading a book that's written by an LLM? Like what do you even get out of that?
Yeah.
Like the the information in that book, if it's written by an LLM, like the core information is just like the prompt that the person typed. And it's
Yep.
like I could read much less to get the exact same information. Like I don't know, like
Literally.
otherwise like it's just what are you even doing here, you know?
You lose the sauce. You
Yeah.
lose the oomph that like your experience would have brought to the book if you would have filled it with your experience and not the millions of Americans trying to write the same novel, right? Using chat.
Mhm.
And one thing I do, like I encourage the entrepreneur, like get your hustle on, do your thing, but do not lose the creativity. Do not like as an artist, as a writer, as a musician myself, like I use they have an app. If you feed your lyrics to it, Micah, Justin Timberlake comes out the other end. And I put my lyrics in
I've
it.
heard some of those songs.
First of all, whose melody is this? This is someone's melody, but whose blend of voices is this? Why does it sound like Chris Brown mixed with Justin Timberlake with like Ariana Grande? Who's singing? But it scared the hell out of me. It scared me because people are shortcutting the process. Like we are prioritizing convenience at the expense of our digital privacy. And I'm seeing that more and more as we use these tools, right? So what and I want to get to your book, but what's one thing that we should be talking about that is not happening enough in our communities when it comes to our privacy and our security and our safety?
I think there is this common misconception that the more that like surveillance and privacy are these like or privacy and security are like these opposing things where it's like
Mm.
we have a lot of crime in this city. We need to put up more cameras. That'll solve all the crime.
Yeah.
That like more surveillance is a solution, and it's a trade-off between public safety and surveillance. And I think that people just need to like first like recognize that this is not true, that there's no evidence of this, that like the most heavily surveilled neighborhoods still have a lot of crime, but they're just heavily surveilled because they're Black and brown people live there, or Muslim people, or whatever, right? And basically just like fight all of this stuff. Like if you have automated license so actually right before I got on this call, I'm like doing all this work in my local town trying to get the police to cancel their contract with the automated license plate reader company. And you should all do that, right? It's I think that the benefit that they get from it is they sometimes can catch some shoplifters, and then they also have like an intimate map of everyone in your town that drives a car. Like throughout time. So it's like I don't know. I think so. I think that everyone should just reject that false idea that's like constantly pushed by cops and constantly pushed by like the intelligence community and the government, that like, oh, we need all of this surveillance to keep you safe. Because no, like they need that surveillance because they want to surveil you. They need the surveillance to like stop you from protesting, right? It doesn't have anything to do with keeping you safe.
Micah, this convo is so refreshing. Like I love that you just see it from like the so many different views, and your perspective on it is just so plain and palatable. Because this is the reason why they're marketing AI to organizations so much, and surveillance. Like I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, so it's one of the most surveilled communities in New York City. And every corner we got now, like the command centers, right? They got the robots with the long poles and the lights with almost on every other block now. And I'm just like, man, I wonder if they open up that rec center with the same budget that they put into the technology in this hood, with these kids stop using their time doing A, B, and C. And they've done three sweeps in that neighborhood of gangs that equal up to almost 120 young people with more surveillance. So it's not about keeping people safe, because they're literally watching them commit the crimes in order to build up the case to get the RICO too. So we can talk about that forever, but like it is real. And I want people to understand, like public safety, it should not be like you mentioned, like public safety is not negated because of like surveillance. Surveillance is not keeping us safer. What will keep us safer is our voices being heard, us understanding where the budgets are going and being able to speak up against that and try to transfer those resources back into our community, because tech is not bad. Like I don't want people to be scared of AI. Feel how you feel, but like we don't have the opportunity or the time to be afraid of these things. It will be like Silicon Valley in the 90s. If you don't know what www.com is, you're left behind. There's people that still don't have computers from COVID. So we're talking about AI. Your mothers talking to a chatbot, probably giving their social security number, thinking that it's safe. They don't know. They just, and this is why our vulnerable communities keep being attacked. There's not enough conversation. There's not enough education around these things. But Mike, before we jump off, like I'm really, really excited about this. Like I'm really grateful to have this convo. This is so amazing. I want to talk about your book. I want to talk about what inspired you to write Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations. Talk to me about that journey for you.
So I wrote this beginning of 2024, so it's a few years old at this point. But at the time, I was working at The Intercept, and the type of journalism I was doing a lot of like data set based journalism, like based on data from whistleblowers, but also like increasingly data from like just data breaches and from hackers. Like actually the whole data set that is okay. So with this book, when you the whole thing, first of all, is like, please buy it if you want to, but it's also free on the internet.
Buy it.
Hacksandleaks.com. So you go to hacksandleaks.com, you could read the whole thing. So, you know, if you want to start reading it, going through it and whatever, it's like you can it teaches you how to download data sets, how to set up your computer to start like working with the data sets, how to stay safe, how to like, you know, use disk encryption, how to prevent, you know, like when you're investigating a target, them knowing that you're investigating them, things like that. And then it gets like kind of deep into specific stuff, like here, like you have a set of emails. Here's how you investigate email dumps. Here's how you have like a huge collection of like documents that are random office documents and PDFs and stuff. Here's how you can make these all searchable for keywords and whatever. You know, like, and it's full of case studies. One of the biggest data sets that is like used throughout the book is Blue Leaks, which is like police data that was hacked in 20. So this is an example of one of the data sets that I was doing a lot of journalism around, was like 2020, the middle of the like Black Lives Matter uprising, George Floyd, like a few, like I think this was like 3 weeks after George Floyd was murdered. Someone hacked hundreds of fusion centers and leaked all the data. It was like 180 gigabytes of data. So if you follow along with this book, first thing you do is you download 180 gigabytes of police data, and then you learn how to start digging through it. And so the reason I wrote it was because this book didn't exist. Like there's way too much data. And I think another big misconception is like, people are like, you hear about some hack or some data set and you read an article about it or something, you're like, oh, journalists have that, they're finding the interesting stuff in it and whatever. It's not true. Journalists are not finding the interesting stuff in it. Like very few people are actually like have the ability to even like download the data from like a ransomware site or whatever, much less like once you have the data, spending all of the massive amounts of time like digging through it, investigating it, finding, you know, the interesting stuff in it. And so I wanted to kind of build an army of people to do that. So that's what the book is about. It's like
powerful.
And journalists, anyone. Hey, did I disconnect for a minute there?
Yep, we're back.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so that was my impetus for writing it. I mean, I could talk more about it, but I think we might be out of time.
No, I love that. I love that. And really quickly, was the police data what drove you to write it, or what was there a particular story or investigation that pushed you to write it?
Actually, like the investigation that pushed me to write it was this really interesting one where I had just like spent a lot of time on it, and actually my investigation was cited by Congress, which was pretty interesting. And I was like, this was like so cool how it all worked. I would love to tell people how it all works, and so that they can do the similar things themselves. And so actually, like the last chapter in the book is a case study on it. It was America's Frontline Doctors, which is this anti-vax group that was like founded by a bunch of like quacks that were trying to figure out how to support Trump during COVID. They were like Trump is saying that everyone should take ivermectin and whatever. And so they were like, let's find all these doctors that can say like, yeah, Trump's COVID policy is great. And it ended up basically being, am I still here?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Wait, what just happened?
I can still see you and hear you.
Oh, okay. Like I don't, like you just disappeared but came back. But yes.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
So neo-Nazis, and there's some Nazi chats that you can search through in this book.
Awesome.
But it's like a group of insanely rich people scamming hundreds of thousands of people. Basically, they like, first they had this huge propaganda network where they're like, vaccines are going to kill you, vaccines are terrible, you know, like Fauci is evil, all this stuff. And then but you know what will keep you safe from COVID is hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. All you need to do is give us $90 for a phone consultation, and then we'll have like a doctor talk to you and prescribe these like fake drugs that don't actually treat COVID to you. And so what ended up happening is someone was looking into this group, and the group was like super well, like the founder of the group, Simone Gold, was like a January 6th writer and stuff. Like it's extremely like MAGA coded, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And somebody hacked the telemedicine company that they were using to like schedule all of their appointments, their phone calls. They also hacked the like kind of scam pharmacy that was selling all of these like drugs that for COVID that were not actually for COVID. Actually, like after this, there was even a lawsuit from someone who died from taking this because they thought that it would like help them with COVID, but they weren't actually, like they had like some sort of health problem where they couldn't take hydroxychloroquine, and so they died, and they didn't actually go and see a real doctor, you know. But basically, like I have medical records, and I figured out like how much money they made. I like made all these graphs. I like mapped the patients around the world, around the US and stuff. And and it was in like of the portion of the data I had, it was something like $8 million of just like the selling drugs, and then like another like at least like $5 million of phone consultations. But like I only have like a few months of data, so probably it was like 30 or 40 million dollars that they were getting. And there was all these interesting stories in there. Like I needed to verify that the data was real, and so I had the email addresses of all these patients, but I'm like, how do I know that this hacker, the anonymous hacker, contacted me and just sent this to me? How do I know that they didn't just make this stuff up?
Yeah.
I took, you know, Gab, the like far right social network.
No.
So there's like a social network called Gab. It's like basically run by Nazis, and they have been hacked at some point. I had a Gab data set, and then I had this data set. I grabbed all of the email addresses I could find from the Gab data set and all the email addresses I could find from this one, and compared them. And I'm like, oh, there's like 20 or 30 people that have Gab accounts. And then I went and looked at their Gab accounts and saw some of them posting about America's Frontline Doctors. And I'm like, bam, I know this is legit. Your video just disappeared. Am I still on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I can hear you.
No, that's crazy. And only in a few months, it was 5 million, 8 million from 2 different revenue streams. So imagine, wow. And you were able to cross-reference. And yeah, people, make sure you get this book. Make sure you get this book. Micah, that's phenomenal, family. Like and I love that when you first kicked it off, saying, hey, there was a gap here. There was a need here. There was a gap here in terms of helping people understand data, download data, and go through it safely. Like, so when people get your book, and I'll end on this question, what do you want that just someone new coming into the space, trying to understand how to be safe, trying to understand or maybe upskill or do some career navigations to get into the digital privacy space, but they run into your book? What is one thing that you want them to walk away with?
I mean, I just want people to not be afraid to just do cool stuff on your computer. like the book starts in the beginning. Like it's like, here's how to use a command prompt.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, Micah, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. The video changed, but I can hear you.
Okay, I'm